Our next act offers you a change of pace. And with that, I welcome Professor Stan Goldman. Give it up.
Professor Johnson is representative of the cool, talented half of the faculty. I'm here to represent the rest of us. The great thing about being a law professor is, you want to do one of these? You don't have to audition. I don't sing, I don't dance, I just thought I'd answer one simple question I get all the time, and that is, why in the world would I want to become a criminal law professor? I mean, why spend your life thinking and talking about murder and insanity? And the answer is, it deals with a tragic indiscretion in my youth. I think perhaps I should tell you the whole story from the beginning. True. Nervous, very, very dreadfully nervous I had been, and ill, but the disease had sharpened my senses, not dulled, not destroyed them. Above all was the sense of hearing acute. I could hear all things in heaven and earth. I could hear many things in hell. Hearken and observe how healthily, how calmly I can tell you the whole story. I know not when first the idea entered my mind, but once conceived, haunted me day and night. Hardship there was none, passion there was none. I loved the old man. He had never given me insult. He had never wronged me. I think it was his eye. He had a pale eye with a film over it, and when it fell upon me, my blood ran cold. And so very gradually, by degrees, I decided to rid myself of the eye. Forever. Now this is the point. You fancy me mad. Madmen know nothing! But you should have seen me. You should have seen how wisely I proceeded, with what caution, with what foresight, with what dissimulation I went to work. I was never kinder to the old man than that whole week before I killed him. You know, every night, just at midnight, I'd turn the latch of his door and open the door. Oh, so gently. This I did for 7 long nights, but I found the eye always closed. It was impossible to do my work, for it was not the old man who vexed me, but his evil eye. Oh, upon the 8th night, I was more than usually cautious in opening the door. Never before that night had I felt the extent of my own powers. To think that there I was opening the door little by little, and he not even to dream of my deeds or thoughts. And my thumb slipped upon a fastening, and the old man sprung up in bed crying out, "Oh, who's there?" I stood quite still and said nothing. Presently, I heard a groan, and then a low, dull, quick sound, such as a watch makes if enveloped in cotton. I knew that sound. It was the old man's heart. His hour had come. I threw open the door, and I leaped into the room. I dragged him to the floor, and I pulled the heavy bedding over him. The deed was done. Now, I dismembered the body. I took up 3 planks from the flooring of the chamber, and I buried all beneath. So cunningly, so cleverly that no human eye, not even his, would have noticed any difference. When I finished, it was about 4 in the morning, and suddenly there came a knocking at the front door. I went down to answer it with a light heart, for what had I to fear? There answered 3 gentlemen who spoke with perfect suavity. They introduced themselves as officers of the law. A shriek had been heard in the night. Suspicion of foul play had been aroused. And they, the officers, had been dispatched to search the premises. The shriek, I say, was my own in a dream. The old man I mentioned was away in the country. I bid them search. Such well. Eventually, I I led them to his chamber. I showed them his possessions secure and undisturbed. The officers were satisfied. My manner had convinced them. And while we sat and chatted pleasantly of familiar things, my head began to ache. And I felt a ringing in my ears. It became louder and more distinct. It was a low, dull, quick sound, such as a watch makes when enveloped in cotton. I spoke more quickly, but the noise became louder and louder. And yet still they sat, and still they chatted pleasantly and smiled. Was it possible they heard not? No, they heard, they suspected, they knew, they were making a mockery of my horror. I could stand it no more. Villains! Villains, I shrieked. Dissemble no more. I admit the deed. Tear up the plagues, and it is the beating of his hideous. So, after being found not guilty by reason of insanity, having been successfully released on a writ of mandamus, won by a couple of young lawyers, I became so fascinated by the subject that I decided to follow the path that many people before me in my circumstance, having been criminally committed, followed. And that was, of course, to become a law professor. And I don't want you to be concerned, because I am completely cured and completely over my prior affliction. Except perhaps on those very, very rare occasions when I look out into a classroom of shining student faces and staring back at me. There's an eye with a light.